Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is TWitWoW in review. It's Rumble week. Rumble is literally tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be live reacting to the whole show. That's really all that I've been thinking about. My mind is dialed in on this. I couldn't even tell you. I guess the week in wrestling has been okay. Didn't check out AEW. I avoid Impact like the plague, even though I'll still hear things about it occasionally on Twitter. Like, I know that Swan actually is the number one contender for Josh Alexander's Impact World title. We also did watch one match on like an extra Impact show featuring somebody that my friend Angel knows of, and he wanted our thoughts on that. That's the only like extracurricular wrestling I did this week that involves Impact. And yeah, I thought SmackDown and Raw. You know, we had Raw 30 this week. I didn't think that was too bad. Had just another amazing aspect of the Bloodline story with the trial of Sami Zayn, and then a wrinkle in the tag team title matchup against Judgment Day. And then SmackDown, let's just say I loved how that ended. So, yeah, I'd say this week, given that it was Rumble week, pretty solid. But again, I'm just dialed into the pay-per-view tonight. Brother, how are you feeling?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty stoked for the Rumble tonight, and I'm glad that we're doing this early. Pretty excited and hoping that we have some good conversations here today.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Because again, there was some stuff I kept my finger on the pulse with. Other stuff though, it's like, okay, that happened, and I'm just really thinking about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. So I guess I don't even know where we should start. I mean, the hottest thing, if we were going by, I know a few episodes back, we wanted to open with men's war games back at Survivor Series, because that was the hottest thing. If we're talking about the hottest thing, I feel like Tribal Court with Sami Zayn was the hottest thing to happen in wrestling this week. This Bloodline angle just continues to be amazing. It continues to be that storyline, seemingly once every 5, 10, however many years, that just kind of transcends the industry in a way. And I just loved how this was done. But before I really get off to the races, how did you feel about Tribal Court with Sami Zayn? What did you think about this whole segment?
Well, I fucking hated the Paul Heyman portion of it because it just made no sense to me that Paul Heyman all of a sudden just absolutely despises Sami Zayn to the point that he literally wished death upon him. I didn't understand that at all. I felt like that insulted the viewer's intelligence. I feel like that was just they went out of their way to make Paul Heyman a two-dimensional or maybe even one-dimensional caricature of himself. With the dishonesty and the, following power and all that bullshit. And I'm just like, haven't Paul and Sami had a relatively decent relationship up until like the last week or so?
I mean, bro, I have to vehemently disagree with you here. For one thing, I think this is perfectly in line with Paul Heyman's character over the years in WWE, well beyond the Bloodline. I mean, he's always been like a two-face backstabber going where the power is. Hell, when he used to be on Talking Smack with Kayla, um, and they would have Sami come on, and Sami would be the conspiracy theorist. Paul would act nice to his face, like, oh yeah, Sami, you're fighting injustice and this and that, and you're doing great. And then the moment Sami would leave, he would insult Sami. He even told Kayla at one point, like, Sami thinks there is a conspiracy. It's true, there was a conspiracy. When I was working creative on Raw, we deliberately held him down, or we deliberately, didn't utilize him to his full potential. So the idea that Paul can act one way to Sami's face and then another way, I guess when the situation doesn't favor Sami or behind his back, that's perfectly consistent. So I don't really feel like your criticism carries much weight in this case.
Well, I guess then
I
in that
actually,
case, I just don't like the Paul Heyman character because I think that's just complete nonsense and that's not reality at all. That's not like
and
realistic
that's
at all.
and that's fair to me. I feel like, given Roman's character and the influence he has on people, Heyman knows where his bread is buttered. He knows how dominant Roman has been as champion, and that's the gravy train he wants to ride. And personally, I found Heyman hilarious. Like, even out of the mouth of anybody else, like if this is like an MJF or something, right? I probably would have rolled my eyes. But when Heyman goes so far of like, what's next, Sami? You're gonna euthanize his father? You're gonna castrate his sons? And then Roman, to his credit, has this face like, is he? Like, Roman's actually like, Paul might have a point. It's like, no, he's done. That's like hyperbolic as shit. But to me, it just added to it because these two, especially Roman, is just so far gone in paranoia. Like, Sami will never.
For
like,
sure.
Sami's
Roman
always
is.
gonna have to
Yeah, Roman is like past the point of no return. He's gone.
Oh, dude, 100%. Like, Sami is always going to have to prove himself. That's going to be the defining, well, I shouldn't say the defining. That's going to be like an epiphanic moment for the character when Sami just realizes it's never going to be enough for him. I could stab my former best friend Kevin Owens in the back and cost him his dream. I could, because we don't know if Jey Uso is going to suffer any consequences because on SmackDown, he did say like, "Oh, Sami, I need a favor." But we'll get more into that in a little bit because I would like to properly contextualize that first. And then Roman could have Sami be like, hurt Jey or something, or do something to Jey, and Sami could do all of it, and Roman's gonna be like, oh, I just need one more thing, and then you're gonna be like full-blooded Uso, full Sami Uso, and it's just unattainable. So I did like that Heyman presented evidence. I will say my only nitpick, they actually showed the promo, I feel like, where Sami said that Kevin Owens was his best friend.
Where he said his only friend is what it was.
His only friend. And then everybody kind of looked at him, but he didn't use that portion. He used, I guess, when Sami again bumped shoulders with Roman, and that's where he went into the hyperbole about castrating his sons, euthanizing his father. I wish they would have used that soundbite of Sami having that slip, because with Royal Rumble that close at the time, he could have just been like, oh, so he's his only friend. So he's still friends with Kevin Owens, which means he's been plotting behind your back leading into Royal Rumble. I thought that was a missed opportunity there. Other than that, though, great stuff on the prosecution side. And then then actually Sami goes and he says, like, he brings up the same point that you kind of brought up, like, you called me Shmooly this and Shmooly that, like, you show me all this love to my face, and then you turn around and you say this, like, that hurts. To which Paul Heyman says, good, I'm glad it hurts. And then Sami's like, my defense is that I have no defense. And then when Roman's like, do you have so much of an ego, you're not even going to fight for that? Every time Roman talked, especially after what happened in between with like Jey Uso and stuff, which we'll get to in a minute, all I kept thinking was, wouldn't it be something if they ran this back, but it was Roman brought before the tribal court? The indignation that this dude would have. Like, why am I answering to this family? I am this family. Like, I want it now. I want it so bad. But Roman's, he's getting hot because he's like, Sami, you're not even fighting for this. That's how you're going to treat me. That's how you're going to treat this opportunity. Solo. And he summoned Solo. And I didn't know how Solo was going to go either, because Solo, keep in mind, when he came in to the bloodline, like, yes, he did acknowledge Roman and stuff like that. He very clearly wanted to be the heavy. But when it came to, like, the interpersonal dynamics among, like, the members outside of Roman, Solo always seemed to gravitate to Sami. Like, he said, Sami, why don't you come down to the ring with me? Seeming that he had more confidence in him than in Jey at the time. And stuff like that.
I noticed that. I was like, I feel like Solo has been really going out of his way to distance himself from Sami in like the last month or so, though.
Yeah. And so I guess that makes more sense then. Like, if you feel that way, you must be onto something, because Solo, he seemed like he hesitated for a second, but he was about to do business. He was about to do that spike. And then the crowning moment of the whole goddamn thing, Jey stops Solo, looks at him, the crowd erupts, and Roman just looks at Jey like, what's happening here. And I have to take a pause here because I'm also glad that we opened with this because this is going to be the whole storyline because then you figure they follow up with it a bit on SmackDown. This is probably going to get the most airtime today on our program because I feel like this was by far the biggest thing that happened this week. I love this for so many reasons, not just because of the Jay-Sami relationship and how it matures even further beyond War Games, which I've been waiting for. But when you look at Jay as an individual character, right? He started out, happy Uso, talented guy, but he's like, Roman chill. Like, why can't I be the head of the table and this and that? He started out defiant. They had the 2 matches. Roman never beats Jay clean, as we always talk about. But it's not about that for Roman. It's about, can I crush his spirit and get him to submit, metaphorically to me? And Jay does. And I feel like this here, it's like Sami is bringing back a little bit of that old Jay Uso, a guy that can stand up for himself, a guy that can more pointedly stand up to Roman and Roman's ideas of things. That's like we've talked about, and sometimes in a joking manner, how the dynamic between Roman and Jay is, for all intents and purposes, an abusive relationship. There is mental and emotional manipulation. Very early on, there was like physical abuse. Even when Jay would seemingly do something right. I mean, I go back to this segment all the time. Roman still hits him with a chair to the point where Jay's asking, like, what did I do? Like, it's abuse 101. But here, the beautiful part about that now is you can always overcome abuse, or at least you have a better chance of overcoming it if you have that support network, if you have the people, like Jay says himself, that see the good in you and don't give up on you. And Jay said Sami did that for him. That's fucking powerful. When you look at the Jay Roman relationship and then you look at Sami's interjection in that relationship, it's like Sami, I don't want to say is saving Jay from Roman. That might be a bit strong, but he's kind of helping Jay find his legs again to stand up to Roman when it matters. And this moment mattered. And Roman's kind of looking at him and the crowd's erupting. And you could see, and I got to give Roman all the credit in the world. This dude, he did fantastic. I actually watched on 2x speed because I can't stand Jimmy Fallon. But I watched Roman's interview with him that he did last night. And this dude is so polished, great face of the company. And he just gets it because I think he sells with his every facial expression. Oh my God, I feel like I'm losing control of this because Jay is now standing up to me. This crowd loves Sami more than me. I tell them to acknowledge me. Sure, I get a decent pop. Sami doesn't have to ask for acknowledgement. They just give it to him. Like, Roman knows what's happening here. And I think it scares him. But I'm going to take a breath here before I get further into what Jay said and did. How did you feel about, like, the moment where the crowd just erupted with Jay kind of standing up for Sami here?
Yeah, that was great. Grabbing Solo's arm. I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of weird little sort of nuances to this story that just kind of throw me off. I already told you about the Heyman thing. And, like, I do understand that Solo has been a little bit more distant lately, but, like, first of all, I don't know why. We haven't had any kind of an explanation on why we randomly went from Solo and Sami being boys. Like, I still remember that one backstage segment, and I think that happened as recently as, like, December, where Solo had a match, and he straight up told the Usos, like, nah, I don't want y'all at ringside. Sami, you coming? And, like, we had that moment. And, like, there's been no storyline explanation since then as to why Solo would be distant, but he has been. And then he even went to the point of, like, being willing to fucking spike Sami for Roman. Like, where is the explanation here? I don't get why Solo has gone from being Sami's boy to now all of a sudden he's just fully loyal to Roman, fully in Roman's pocket, fully willing to fucking Samoan spike Sami's ass just because Roman said to. Like, where is this coming from? Why is Solo no longer cool with Sami? What happened that caused this rift?
I mean, Foster interjecting here saying there have been moments where Roman has asked Solo to go with him, like Roman has been shown to getting Solo alone. Maybe that's it. And so maybe Roman got deeper in Solo's ear, and maybe Solo, on top of that as a character, may feel like a predisposition of loyalty to Roman, given that it was Roman that brought him into the fold, given Clash at the Castle and everything. So I don't know. I mean, I think you're asking worthwhile questions. I just don't know if, like, every answer is going to be given to us in that case. I just feel like maybe Solo just wanted to stay in the fold, didn't want to get on Roman's bad side. Even though a future Solo Roman matchup does actually intrigue me with how they've been booking Solo, because I really like that they make him this monster that's actually convincing. But I think Foster makes an interesting point there. But beyond that, so Jay says, listen, Tribal Chief, OG, no disrespect. So Jay still knows, like, you know, it's not like I'm just going to be puffing my chest out completely. He still assures Roman, look, this isn't any disrespect. I put together my own footage. Heyman immediately says, what? Like, he's shocked. He's like, what? Behind my back? Because I think Heyman thought he was the only one that made video evidence. Jay has evidence exhibits A through E, which I like, because I think that was a bit more than Heyman's video package. I like that little touch. And it just shows all the times that Sami has sacrificed and helped for the bloodline.
Yep.
And I love the line that Jay had here. He said, he's taken bullets for me, for us, for this whole family. Hell, my dog is bulletproof. I love that. And he says, I mean, look, Sami, you know I hated you, right? Everybody knows I despised you, right? And Sami even says, you can see him like, yeah, I know. And he said, but what did you do? You know, you never gave up on me, and you saw good in me the whole time. That's what family do. You know, that's loyalty. And then he says, Sami Zayn, I love you like a brother. That's 100. And Heyman's like, oh, you know, give me a break. And again, I'm just watching Roman's face the whole time, because it's like, wow, like, Jay really feels like he's found an ally beyond Jimmy, because we always know that Jay and Jimmy are going to be tight, but he's found somebody beyond Jimmy that he can really feel that close to. But he's not blood, and more importantly than that, it wouldn't even matter if he wasn't blood. This dude clearly isn't fully subordinate to me, and that's a problem, because if Jay is gravitating to somebody that isn't fully subordinate to me, that may mean in the future that Jay is no longer fully subordinate to me, and I need everybody to be subordinate to me, because this title reign can go on forever if everyone is subordinate. It's just, he is. I gotta tell you, when Triple H did Evolution, because they, you know, it even came out later, you know, when there were no members left, like, no, I made Evolution so I wouldn't have to jump through hoops defending this title every week. Roman Reigns is doing a better Triple H in Evolution than Triple H in Evolution, because it's so obvious that the whole group is about protecting Roman and his interests. Yeah. But he's done such a great job. Like, no, guys, listen. It's about me. It's about the family. And you know, in a way, like, yeah, Usos win the tag titles. Roman's like, that's how you get it done, and this and that. Solo, I'm actually amazed they haven't put hardware on Solo yet, to be quite honest with you.
Same.
I just feel like the mid-card titles are in a weird place right now, where maybe they couldn't, you know, they feel like it's not a good time. And Sami, of course, well, Sami might be getting hardware soon. We just don't know what kind. But yeah, it's very clearly about Roman, because if it was about the family, he wouldn't be so concerned, obviously. But I just love how he's selling that. He's so good in this. That this is his career-defining work to me. And I think it made all the bullshit that both he and us went through with kind of the forced booking of, no, you're the hero, love him. It honestly made it all worth it, because then when he does go back to being face, because it'll happen.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be so earned, and I think people will be so ready for it. Hell, even I'll enjoy it, probably. Maybe not nearly as much as this. I have been riveted to this, but man, it's great. So Jay speaks up on behalf of Sami, and then the great moment too is like, if you want Sami to stay in the bloodline, throw your ones to this guy. You could already see some ones being thrown up before Jay even finished, and then when he did fit, dude, it seemed like that whole arena had their fucking ones up, and Roman's looking around, and they're chanting again for Sami, or they're chanting Usi. I know they had a big Usi chant initially when Jay stopped Solo. I thought that was cool too.
Yeah.
Roman's looking around, and he's like, oh my God, like, and again, I think that was the moment where he's like, oh my God, I might actually be losing this. What do I do? How do I reconsolidate my power?
Yeah.
And yeah, he says, I, the tribal chief, find you, Sami Zayn, not guilty. And there was a pop. It's like we were watching an actual court drama, like some Judge Judy shit. It's like, yeah, not guilty. But then he adds, for now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, again, because it's always just that far away. You better look at Jay and thank him because he bought you more time. But I don't want to see you until Saturday. Tonight you can stick around, make the family proud. I don't want to see you after that until Saturday at the Royal Rumble where you'll have your final test. Now, he didn't specify what that test was. I assumed it was help me retain against Kevin Owens if I need you. It could be something else entirely. We don't know. And then as they're leaving the ring, because this was something that was brought up to me, after the segment happened in our Discord during game night. And then I did actually see it because I finally found the full segment again because WWE on USA set the video to private. And I was like, oh, you fuckers. But I actually did find the full segment because I wanted to watch it multiple times. Jay gives Sami his lei and he puts it around his neck and they hug. Dude, beautiful. Honestly, I know the year just started. That might be one of the best wrestling segments of the year just because of, the Jay-Sami dynamic alone.
Yeah.
And the energy from the crowd. It's going to be hard to top that if it is topped. And to be honest, the only thing I think that can top it at this rate is either something super emotional in Stardom. I could see maybe Waka's first win getting close to this, or maybe, if Tam won the title this year or whatever, maybe that being close. But the only other thing beyond that would be the Bloodline itself. Just the Bloodline doing something else, or maybe Sami in Montreal at Elimination Chamber. That's going to be, after this. We got to get to Rumble first, obviously. But yeah, this was awesome. Now that I've kind of rounded out this segment, anything else you want to say about it? Between just Jay's crowd control, his promo, anything like that?
I don't think so, man. Let's move on.
All right. Well, just to kind of put a neat bow on this whole storyline, because it was the biggest thing this week, we then go to Friday Night SmackDown. God, I fucking love this too. So Bloodline shows up, sans Roman, because again he was doing Jimmy Fallon that night, which I did watch, and it was a good, only like a 7-minute thing. But yeah, Usos and Solo show up. Jimmy's telling Solo, tonight's your night, man. And yeah, same too, Foster. I found it interesting that Jimmy put up the one as well, because he was just kind of sitting watching the whole thing. I didn't know where Jimmy was gonna go, but that was really cool. Then, we see as they're heading into the arena that Sami comes out, from the shadows in a hooded thing. And Jay is like, yo, man, what are you doing here? And he's like, yo, look, I'm not supposed to be here. Look, I'm going to leave. I'm not here to start anything, do anything. Just wanted to come here and thank you for what you did. I'm never going to forget it. You ever need anything, I got you. And they hug again. And it's like a little bro hug with the high five and, bringing it in. It was great. And it turns out that Jay would, because later in the night, Kevin Owens has an interview with Kayla. I fucking love you, Kevin Owens. And whenever this space run ends, I will remember it so fondly because it was so good. And he says, listen, look, Kayla, I'm taking on Solo tonight because I want to be the undisputed Universal Champion. I haven't forgotten about 2 years ago how I was screwed. I had that match won, and he painfully did. I love that, Kevin as a character is saying it because it's just facts. That was botched so bad. You might as well be like, well, the referee was paid off, which I think they did. So, yeah, Kevin has every right to be angry. And he says, I'm going to take out as many people as I can. Usos overhear this. They walk up on Kevin. Adam Pearce quickly shuts this shit. I honestly don't know how he is even still functional as a character. Every time the Bloodline does this shit, he seems to just, be apoplectic. That he says, no, I'm not getting, another match ruined tonight. Usos, you got to get the hell out of here. Kevin, get ready for your match. So the Usos leave. They're like, man, we didn't even start the fight. I know, AP tripping. And then they get in the car to leave. And Jay kind of, ducks down on the other side of the car. Yo, my dog, you still in town? I need a favor. And it's like, yeah, so it was Jay. Again, though, even though this backfired, and we'll get to that in just a second, I find it interesting that Jay is finding his own autonomy again. He's kind of assuming more responsibility than maybe Roman is comfortable with him assuming.
Yep.
Because Sami's bringing that out of... Oh, he's losing this. Oh, Tribal Court, the trial of Roman Reigns coming soon to a TV near you, I hope. But yeah, we go from that to then our main event of SmackDown. Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens. I watched the again the WWE on USA clip because they're always extended clips, 7 minutes or so. And yeah, good back and forth. I liked how Solo, I mean, again, his booking he ate a couple super kicks, and I mean ate, like he didn't even really sell them and went right back on offense. Kevin did some great stuff. His swanton is fucking beautiful for a man his size and everything every time. He actually hits that. Looks like he's going to pin Solo. Sami pulls Solo out.
Yep.
Kevin kind of shoves Sami like out of the way. Sami continues to try and distract Kevin. Solo super kicks Sami. Now, commentary kind of plays it off like it was an accident. People in the comments were less convinced. They were like, no, he was looking right at, like, how can you miss? Like,
no,
he kicked Sami right in the face.
From what I remember, if I'm thinking of the right spot, it looked very, very intentional. He saw Sami, he pulled the trigger on the super kick, and yeah, it was on purpose for sure.
Yeah, I'm there with you, because it's like, again, there's missing in a proper context, and it's like, no, that's a cover up. You clearly, this is what you intended.
Like, it wasn't as blatant as like some of like the Stardom heel turns that we've seen, where like they'll go to attack their partner and or they'll go to attack someone that their partner's holding, and that person will move out of the way, and then they'll kind of back up, and then they'll be like, fuck it, and attack their partner anyway. It wasn't that blatant, but like it was a midway point between, oh, it was an accident, and that blatant.
Yes. Kevin and Solo continue to fight, and then Kevin gets the deciding blow, or one of the deciding blows, when he gets a pop-up powerbomb to Solo on the announce table. I say on and not through because unfortunately the table didn't break. I was really hoping for a break. It's always cathartic when that happens. Solo's kind of laying on the table. Kevin's looking at Sami, kind of shaking his head. He picks up the chair, and God, this is where Kevin just feeding on all that emotion, all that adrenaline. I fucking love babyface Kevin Owens. He looks at Sami and he says, when I beat Roman tomorrow night, they're going to use this on you. Just watch. And then he hits Solo in the back of the chair so hard that Solo goes over the barricade into the crowd. And then Kevin looks at Sami, shakes his head, throws the chair down in front of Sami so he spares him effectively, gets on the steel steps and yells to the crowd, "This is my show." And then as he's walking off and Sami's got this look on his face like, fuck, man. Kevin's like, hey, Roman, bring this camera back. Because the camera cut to Sami. And Kevin was not. He's like, bring this camera back. Hey, Roman, tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble, I'm bringing everything I got. And he's so fired up. He hits himself in the head a few times. He's like, everything. Goosebumps. Like, he is so fucking ready for this, dude. Roman's like, if it was any other time, I'd be like, Roman is fucked. Because Kevin is so ready for this, man. I'm like, oh my God. I wish this was the last man standing match. Kevin seems more fired up here in a way than he was 2 years ago. He is just so done with the bloodline shit. And he makes it up to the ramp. He's looking back and he's like, I'll see you tomorrow night, Sami. I'll see you tomorrow night. So I love everyone. Honestly, like everyone's just been so great. And
how do you feel about the spot where Kevin was like really hesitant and ended up not even hitting Sami with the chair when he had an opportunity to?
It's interesting. Like why is it? And see, again, this isn't necessarily a nitpick. I really do just consider it more of an observation because with the first face run that he had, that was pretty pretty extended, or maybe it was the second. I feel like this is either the second or third face run he's had because it's just so good that of course you want to keep going back to it. I don't know why they keep going back to the heel stuff where he's like, oh, I want to change and I want to be a better person, but we never really saw Kevin go through that struggle. I feel like in a way they're kind of doing that storyline better here, even though that's not the story anymore. Because I feel like, the old Kevin would have obliterated Sami without a thought, but I think this Kevin, between admitting to Sami, like, I get why you did what you did at War Games. I betrayed you plenty of times. I wish the character would have stuck to his commitment that he wouldn't share a ring with Sam anymore, or anytime it would seem like they were going to fight, he would just kind of shrug it off. But I actually like this here. I think it's a Kevin reflective on their history, reflective on the person that he wants to be, and stuff like that. I thought it was a great character beat. I would have... But you know what, though? I was going to say I would have liked it if Sami would have grabbed the chair and then hit Owens. But you know what? That's too soon for that. You want to plunge the knife at Rumble, which I fully expect to happen. And Sami, of course, he as well is like a good-natured character, even though he's with the bloodline. He just wants to be accepted. He wants a family of his own because Kevin has just been. And I say this as a primo Kevin Owens mark. Kevin Owens has been horrible family to Sami over the years. Like, in a way, you could almost argue that Kevin is kind of Sami's Roman, albeit in a very different way. But like, yeah, he's never really appreciated Sami, and maybe Kevin's kind of realizing that a little bit. I don't know, but I'm just loving the character dynamics of everybody, and it's all about the landing. Because when you do stuff as great as they did just this week,
dude,
how
the thing that
landed
has
is
me
going on.
concerned is that we're going to get a moment tonight where Sami has an opportunity to use a chair on Kevin, and he hesitates the way Kevin did last night.
Yeah. Yeah, and Roman will see that hesitation, and even if Sami does the right thing, given Roman's psychology, right?
Yeah.
It's like, was that enough, or are you just going to emphasize the hesitation?
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of, and really, the hesitation might be enough that it costs Roman. Like I fully expect Roman to retain, but there is that little part of me that's like, but what if Sami hesitates, isn't able to pull the trigger, Kevin is able to finish the job on Roman? I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, maybe what would happen is like we would have this moment where like Sami has the chair up, can't pull the trigger, Kevin shoves him aside, stuns Roman, goes for the pin, and Sami breaks up the pin then instead of using the chair. I don't know, man. I have this weird gut feeling that tonight is going to really be that first moment of like, oh, son of a bitch, they're really going to do the Sami KO tag team, aren't they?
Dude, let's just talk about it, because here's the thing. With our Rumble preview predictions, we usually treat it differently than other preview predictions because we already have the minigame. So we're not going to spend as much time talking about the nuts and bolts and the overall structure of each story, right? So I actually, for that reason alone, I'm glad that we do TWitWoW and review so early on pay-per-view days, even though today I was like, oh man, I gotta eat. I'm still dialed in on Rumble. I hope I can bring my A game for this. But I am glad that we do this for this reason alone, because, dude, I love both guys. Tag titles would cheapen everything they've done. And second of all, now I can't speak for you, and I never would. For me, tag titles, I wouldn't just be pissed for Kevin and Sami as characters. I'd be pissed for Jay, too. I stood up for you, and you're going to freaking take my tag titles from me? What the heck? Like, now, I'll be honest with you, I'm more interested in the idea, again, of them freebirding those tag titles and Sami being a part of the defending of them, rather than just Kevin and Sami taking them, because it's like, I'm sorry, and again, I love Kevin Owens, and you can love somebody but not love everything they do. They're not mutually exclusive, as we know. Right. But I hate the idea of him and Sami as a tag team. Actually, I find the tag team of Sami and Jey Uso far more interesting, far more fascinating. I don't know if that would rub Jimmy the wrong way. Again, that's why I say they freebird it so he keeps being included. But, like, yeah, that tag team is far more interesting to me. If you regress and you do freaking tag titles, whether you do them in Montreal at Chamber or you do them at Mania, it's like, fuck. And again, this is the problem. Because, you know, another thing I watched, because we always talk about the extracurricular stuff. I actually did do some extracurricular stuff, but it wasn't like matches or anything. I watched Ariel Helwani's interview with Sami Zayn last night. I was up really late last night, folks. I think I got that pre-Rumble jitters. And, you know, Ariel, to his credit, because he's hit or miss with me, you know, as an interview personality, but I feel like he did a really solid interview with Sami here. He asks him, like, do you feel like the fans are going to have, you know, a negative reaction, a visceral reaction, if you don't win the Royal Rumble? And Sami, being the humble guy that he is like, no, I don't think so. No, I think WWE, they've done a great story with us. But if you write a great story, you could sell anybody as the Rumble winner. You know, he said, I agreed with the fans turning on WWE when Batista won over Daniel Bryan, because, you know, Daniel Bryan had the story, and I guess he just felt like the Batista story at the time wasn't going well, which I remember because, like, I love Batista, but him as a babyface at his age, you could tell he was getting blown up. It wasn't going to work. It was only going to work when he turned heel and was able to do the mic stuff and this and that. But Sami's like, no, the crowd won't turn. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Sami, I love you. And in this case, you probably do know more than I do, being in the business, and especially the parts of the business that you've been in for so long. But nah, fam. Unless it's like you said, bro, on preview predictions, and it's stone cold fucking Steve Austin, they ain't selling this shit. No way. Because, like, the thing with Cody is, I will agree with people, as much as it pains me to admit it, Cody probably did win everybody over. You and I can't even deny it, dude. As much as we hated Hell in a Cell, everybody ate that shit up for the most part.
Yeah.
The majority of people were like, how courageous and this and that. We have to concede that. I hate it, but it happened. However, collective memory is very short.
Yep.
And Cody's been gone a long time. And I feel like if they were to try and make Cody come back, win the Rumble, like all of this time didn't happen. You want to talk about insulting intelligence. I don't see it, man. I don't see it going over well. I don't know if everyone will crap on it, but I don't think you'll have that same excitement for Mania. They've really put themselves in a corner here. And then if you're like, but as a consolation, just circle it all back, because I remember where we departed from. Well, but, you know, it's okay because Kevin and Sami are friends again, and they're going to win the tag titles. I'm going to be like, who gives a fuck about that? You robbed me of Kevin Owens being world champion, and I sacrificed that dream on the cross to see Sami do it, and now neither of them are? Fuck you. Because, like, no, I'm 100% there with you. I don't want tag titles. I'm so scared for this pay-per-view, but so excited at the same time. But, like, I'm just very, very tight butthole right now about this fucking show. But, I mean, man, I'll ask you that question, because, again, I did watch the Ariel interview, and a big talking point they had was Chamber in Montreal. What do you think they're going to do with Sami there? Because, like, that to me almost seems bigger than Mania for Sami. Just because, again, of the crowd connection and everything. Do you think he gets excommunicated there? Do you think he gets excommunicated prior to that?
No, I think he's just going to be in a really big-time Chamber match.
I hope you're right, man. Yeah, because, damn. We'll see. Because in a way, here's the thing. If Sami doesn't win Rumble tonight, which even though I've put all my points on him, even I can admit, there's a very good chance he won't win Rumble tonight. Then I'm just going to be thinking, well, you better make Chamber something astounding. You better make Chamber something that they have to call the contractors tomorrow to repair the roof because Montreal blew it off the fucking building. I don't know. I can't see their cards. I know neither can you. But there's a lot riding on this story because when you do a story this big, you either stick the landing or you become like a Game of Thrones. And you botch it so fucking bad, people are just going to forget everything you did, or just be angry about it for a very long time. So I've got nothing else to say about this. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so, no.
All right. I'll tell you the other story that's kind of interesting me, not as much as this. I'm actually liking what Bobby and Brock are doing. Just kind of as two hosses. I think it's good for Brock. It's not the title picture. And while I haven't hated Bobby in the title picture, I actually thought he was a pretty decent WWE champion during his runs. I like, too, that he gets, because I know he's always wanted to face Brock, and he has faced Brock already, but the idea that he gets a full program with him is really cool. How have you felt about what they've been doing? Bobby kind of being dominant, but then Brock coming in and being like,
dude,
oh, that's
I
cute.
just want to, I have to cut you off. I have to cut you off because I am just seeing updated betting odds on the Rumbles.
Oh, what's going on?
And so, you know, the Iron Man thing, basically the longest lasting.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes has been at the top of that for a while now for the men's. But as of yesterday, Sami Zayn has joined him at even odds.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Now, that's not to win, admittedly, but that is to last the longest.
Yeah.
And I think that's still interesting.
Okay.
Because if you're lasting the longest, that means that there's a pretty damn good chance of you being in, like, the Final Four at least.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't think Sammy's even going to be in the Rumble, personally. I really don't.
Dude. We'll have to see. Because I'll tell you, if he's not in Rumble, then I really do think... I shouldn't necessarily say that I think you're right. I think you have a good chance of being right about Chamber and what Sami would do there. But I will just say more generally that they'd have to have something huge for him to do at Chamber. Yeah. No fucking way. You're like, oh, we're just going to have you in the opening match. No, it's got to be big. But again...
Anyway, yeah, let's I apologize. I was
No. That's stuff worth... That's why this show exists. But to circle back, how do you feel about what Brock and Bobby have been doing? Because I've quite enjoyed it, actually.
Really? God, I I think I'm just at a point that, like, as amazing as Brock Lesnar is as a performer, like, in the ring, in wrestling, I'm so fucking over his entire existence, honestly, in WWE. Like, every time his music hits, I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then my brain turns off, and I just pay attention to something completely different.
Interesting, because okay, on one hand, I don't blame you, right? Because it has been a long time and everything. I just didn't think you would be there about this particularly because it's like no titles are involved. He's not hogging a main event spot. So I actually feel like this is kind of a sweet spot for Lesnar, working with another Haas in like the upper mid card. And I think that's why I've been able to turn my brain off and enjoy it because I'm like, okay, this story isn't going to compromise any other stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like this story out of nowhere is gonna cost Sami a big main event opportunity or somebody else a big main event opportunity. I mean, if it was Cody, I'd look the other way. But you know, it's not gonna cannibalize any other stories. And I've liked Lashley. I will say, have you at least enjoyed Lashley since he's been back, kind of tearing people up? Or are you kind of over him too? Where are you with Lashley? Because I know what you said about Brock.
God, I don't know if I would say that I'm over Lashley. Maybe I am. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I have never really been that big of a fan of Lashley's. I think it really just comes down to I'm sick of seeing these fucking, brawls and attacks and shit, and I just want to see a wrestling match, and I feel like Brock wrestles maybe 3 times a year at this point. Lashley, I feel like, hasn't wrestled an actual match in a little bit. I just want to see the actual match. And even now, we're not going to be getting it because they're not in a match against each other. They're probably saving that for Mania. They're just going to both be in the Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost wonder if they're going to eliminate each other. Or you know what's probably going to happen just because it seems more in line with Bobby's character? Lesnar will eliminate him first, but then Bobby will be so hot-tempered he'll pull Lesnar out of the ring. And that's how Lesnar, because it protects Brock, it kind of furthers the Lashley character of like, I just want to beat Brock Lesnar because I feel like Brock won their last match, and Lashley just wants to get one up on Lesnar, and he just can't seem to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a little mini prediction about the booking of the match. I fully expect Lesnar to eliminate Lashley, but then Lashley, while already eliminated, being the one to eliminate Brock Lesnar. And then we kind of run this back at Mania, which I think could be a fun match. I'm looking forward to it. So there was that. Any other big Rumble stuff to talk about? I mean, is there anything on your mind, bro, when we came together today that you wanted to talk about beyond the big bloodline stuff, which I know is the big stuff of the week? Anything on your mind?
Remind me. Oh. Do you want to talk about the fucking Wyatt LA Knight shit?
You know what? Credit where credit's due. I didn't listen to all of LA Knight's promo because they get repetitive, but I did like that he spoofed the entrance. I thought that was cool. I will give him credit. It got a little chuckle out of me. And then Bray's promo, I thought was good. Being like, enjoy it, yuck it up, but then, you're gonna face me in that pitch black match. It's not gonna be pretty for you. And then Uncle Howdy kind of almost being a conductor all the way up there. I thought that was a great visual too. I thought it was a nice segment, but nothing too stellar. I think honestly, it's weird because I love Bray still, and I could say honestly that I love Bray, but just between Alexa and then like all this, they've kind of lost me a little bit because I think it's kind of dragging its feet now for me. I know it's been that way for you for a while. I think it finally reached that place for me. I'm like, okay, let's get Bray not only wrestling, which he will tonight, but I don't even know if we'll see it given the context of the match type. I don't know what we're going to be privy to and what we're not going to be privy to. But honestly, I'm at the point of let's get past this story and just Bray having tasted that redemption and then what he does with it after the fact. Because I feel like his whole story has been like, I want to be me. I don't want to be held down by my demons anymore. Well, what does a Bray do in a WWE landscape after those demons have been conquered? I think I'm already kind of ready to see that, given how they've handled this stage of the story. But how did you feel about it since you broached the subject?
It kind of brings me back to our discussion last night on our preview predictions. I don't know, because the big rumor is that Uncle Howdy is going to screw Bray, and that's going to be sort of the first domino falling, leading to Uncle Howdy versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, right? And
yeah.
you mentioned Uncle Howdy hit that Sister Abigail on Bray right in front of LA Knight, literally like 8 days ago at this point, I believe it was. So not last night, but the SmackDown before that. It might have been a week before that. I don't even know. But like, I don't know. Isn't Uncle Howdy supposed to be like a part of Bray? I think it's just convoluted and I just don't get it fully. And I think that that's not even a me problem. I think it's a problem that a lot of viewers have with this whole Bray Uncle Howdy situation, especially when Bray literally said, and I know he was going down a whole list of things that he is, and basically it was like soliloquy rather than actually being meant to be taken literally, but he literally said, I am Uncle Howdy at one point in one of his promos. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on right now, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Like, wait, you're Uncle Howdy, so we're doing the whole Spider-Man meme thing. Yeah. I don't know, man. See, that's why, like, I like characters like Bray. I obviously like this kind of complexity, but again, I say, like a broken record. Sometimes I wish Bray had the creative control that he does for sure, because I like that, he has that autonomy, and I could tell, like, he wants to make something meaningful for his fans and just for everybody generally. But I wish he was working in tandem with somebody like a Roach at like Lucha Underground or something. I feel like if Lucha Underground was telling this story, I don't think you'd have this confusion because they got into like mythic shit all the time. And I feel like you and I were never really confused. There were things that I think were open to interpretation that you and I would speculate about, but that's different from confusion. Because we'd be like, oh, what is this artifact or that? Because then a few episodes later, or maybe by the end of the season or something, we'd have that question answered. You could do speculation so long as you answer it later, unless it's meant to be open-ended. But I don't feel like wrestling normally is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all. I feel like that's more Bray and who's ever kind of in tandem with Bray writing this creatively. It's like, just clear some things up a little bit. Because like I would like to know, why is Alexa being negatively influenced? What's the whole deal with that? Why is she the only one? I think maybe there was one other person, but I forget who that was because I feel like I heard other people say that, like, oh, that person's kind of changing too when they see the symbol. Maybe it was Liv Morgan back then, but I feel like that kind of hasn't been a thing, at least from what I'm hearing. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on either, and I just kind of missed when this was Bray going on his own journey, and it was just him and Uncle Howdy, and I thought LA Knight would have been dealt with already. So I really don't know what they're going to do with this, but I just, again, much like the Bloodline story, I hope they stick the landing because I do love me some Bray. Beyond that, since we talked about Bray and LA Knight, I just want to talk very quickly, just because I saw this on SmackDown. Well, Lacey Evans back to wrestling. I don't know if that's been a thing for a while. Because
no, dude, I'm pretty sure last night was her first match back in quite a while.
Yeah, God, honestly though,
yeah, I can actually tell you. I just looked it up. She hasn't wrestled since November.
Yeah, like I can tell you, bro, that on preview predictions last night, I put her in my final four. Seeing her in this segment last night, I'm like, you know what? I might have actually made the right call because it was a local competitor kind of thing. They're having her use the Cobra Clutch, so I'm like, oh, you're just trying to do Sergeant Slaughter, but like, gender swapped Sergeant Slaughter. And I'm like, that's a choice. Okay. And she wins with it. Oh, Foster, I think we'll touch on that because I fucking laughed when I heard that. I didn't see it, but I heard about it and it was hilarious to me. But yeah, she wins with the Cobra Clutch and then she gets on the mic, does the typical heel stuff of calling people losers and saying that, she's going to be the Royal Rumble winner, and she's going to wrap her bicep around 29 other women, throw them over the top rope, and win the match. And then she actually ends it by throwing, I believe her name was Jasmine Allure, over the top rope, and then kind of opposing. I'm like, you know what? Seeing that, and seeing that Lacey's got this look and stuff, on one hand, maybe it's foolish of me because we already thought by now she'd be a multi-time women's champion. She still hasn't tasted her first women's championship, which leaves me gobsmacked, to be quite honest with you all. I would have lost everything on that bet. But I don't know. I could see her being a Final Four as just like a heel presence in there alongside Rhea. And we'll have to see tonight. We'll have to see. But yeah, they made her look really dominant here. How do you feel about the 5 millionth reboot of Lacey Evans?
I mean, at least she's a heel now, so at least us hating her is the appropriate response, even if it's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really the most feedback I can give you on this, man, because I really, really don't like her as a person.
Yeah, you know what? I was even gonna say, unironically, not to be patronizing, I was so proud of you. You actually, because like I practically gave you nothing because I know what the answer is. It's Lacey. She's there. Like you know what I even said last night, dude, seeing her work against Jasmine. I'm like, she's not even a bad. Like this is where we got to be honest, because again, we don't need to be hyperbolic with people we don't like because they tell on themselves enough. Lacey's not a bad worker. Like she's not like a Nia Jax. I would even say she's a bit better than Charlotte. I feel like we used to say that, and I think that's still valid. It's just yeah, she's a garbage human being. So like, if they put Lacey in a championship match at WrestleMania, do I think she deserves that spot? No. Do I think she would be competent enough to get that spot to where it needed to be? Probably. Probably. I do think she's got the goods on that level. It's not going to be stellar. You're not going to write home about it. You're going to be you're just gonna be there. You're just gonna be there. And so yeah, it was an interesting segment. It's the 5 millionth reboot of Lacey fucking Evans. I doubt it goes anywhere. But then again, with Charlotte, with them inconceivably positioning Charlotte as a babyface, which why? I could see Charlotte and Lacey either at Chamber or at Mania if they really want to do that angle. Because keep in mind, they've wanted these two to work together for a while now. They had that story where like Ric Flair was with Lacey, maybe even got her pregnant in the storyline. God, remember when Vince's fingerprints were over everything? And so they may want to run it back now with this whole thing. So yeah, we will have to see. But I'm telling you, after seeing that Lacey segment, I'm like, yeah, maybe I wasn't that far off. God damn it.
I really don't think she's going to do that great in the Rumble. I mean, she's going to be in it and she's going to do a few things. She'll probably get a few eliminations. And honestly, because of how up in the air it is, she could have the most eliminations tonight and it wouldn't surprise me, but I really don't think she's going to be in it for more than like 20 minutes or so. And I don't think she's going to be in the Final Four either. I really don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, that's why we do our Rumble predictions, right? But I'm just saying if she does make it, I'll just be happy that I thought of it because I don't know. I feel like they want to make her happen, but at the same time, paradoxically, they're not all in on making her happen. It's weird. It's weird. Javara, settle down in there. It's an open chat. Super Blue can speculate about what he wants. It's not that bad. People don't have powers to make things happen if they say things. If they did, I'd have a lot less problems than I do. So, yeah. Beyond that, do we have anything else to talk about WWE related, or can we just touch on Dynamite real quick?
I mean, do you want to talk about the big women's cage match controversy that we had this week?
Dude, not really, honestly.
No?
I feel like so much has already been said about. I mean, here's the thing.
I mean, here's a hot take. I think that while it would have been preferred that they restructure the second half of the show to give that match more time, if they absolutely had to choose between giving them 1 or 2 minutes of a match and an angle to set up another match down the line, I think they at least made the right choice there.
Yeah. To me, I guess one reason why I don't want to talk about it is I've seen some really bad takes about it. I saw one image, which oddly enough I saw because Javaris like quote tweeted it, where it was like, oh, the Divas era better than the Bloodline storyline. And it's like, no, this person is deliberately being provocative for clips because you didn't go after the DX segment, which, like, fine, it was harmless, but you very easily could have cut that in my mind if you wanted to give the women's match time. No, you go after the hottest angle in wrestling. And it's like you're just being disingenuous. You're doing this for clickbait. Everybody fucking sees you. I'm not impressed. I think the women have a right to be angry. I think when you are part of a demographic that's never going to get your complete due on things, you should be perpetually angry. Or at the very least, to use a bit milder language, you should always be striving, right? Even if you get the Mania main event, there's always something beyond every horizon you're given. And you should always be striving to get that beyond, whatever it is. So I don't blame the women for being angry. I don't blame them. Really, I think why I didn't want to talk about it is I'm already burned out on the discourse because it was handled so fucking horribly.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is there to say? I think Bayley was the consummate pro. I don't know if you saw her remarks about it. She said it was cool. Everything's cool. We're super supported backstage. And, it would have been cool to have that cage match. But with it getting axed, that leads to us doing something bigger. And maybe Bayley will get to do something bigger. I will forever be salty that she is the one horsewoman that has yet to main event a WrestleMania. I would love to see Bayley main event one of those nights one of these years, if they keep doing 2 nights. That's another thing I'll be curious about after this WrestleMania, because will be when the press release comes out that the next WrestleMania, is that going to be 1 night or is it going to be 2? Because if 2 is just the model, I'm so there. I'm psyched. So yeah, I appreciated Bayley's response. I thought that was very very professional of her, and yeah, I think we should all be kind of following Bayley's lead. I want to see where it goes. And I feel sorry for the women that they didn't even get a video package. But again, this is the same company that really has a horrible track record with that kind of shit. So I can't say that I'm too surprised.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else for us to talk about WWE wise. So if you wanted to talk about Dynamite, we can.
All right. What you know how it goes, brother. I know you're more plugged in than I am. So who did Brian face this week?
Brian Cage.
Oh, okay. So that was the arm angle, which I know a little bit about.
Yeah.
So do we want to just talk about that first, since I kind of did the question there? How did you feel about their match?
Well, I will admit I didn't pay that much attention to it, but I did manage to just kind of catch the tail end of it when Cage was really like working over the shoulder and the arm, and then obviously MJF came out, and we got the whole thing where they were gonna have MJF come off the middle rope with Brian's arm wrapped in a chair, and MJF was gonna stomp on the chair and try and break the arm. That obviously didn't actually happen because Takeshita came out for the save. So, props to Takeshita. And then, we also had the big announcement, and which is a bigger deal in my opinion, because the cage match it should have been fun, but it was more about the angle of, MJF paying Cage off to hurt Danielson rather than just having a good wrestling match. But next week, we're getting Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher.
That's going to be a technical goddamn clinic. Yeah. Now that I might actually park my ass and see, because I've been meaning to catch up on quite a few AEW matches, including Fox's stuff since he's come to the company, and Bryan versus Bandito. But that one, I really do want to try and make it a point to see. Potentially, I'll have to see what I'm wrapped up in here at home. But yeah, if I'm available, like I'm freaking there, because that's going to be a technical clinic. I did like the story of using Cage kind of like as a mercenary of sorts to go after the arm, because I did see a short on the AEW YouTube channel with MJF giving Cage money and then slapping him to kind of motivate him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Just good heel work there. It's like, of course, I'm not going to get my hands dirty, so you're going to do this shit for me kind of thing. And yeah, so it's just funny to me, because I know you and I were big fans of Cage and Lucha Underground. I think the only time he's been a world champion was in freaking Impact. I'm amazed that Cage is just going to be that guy of our generation that we look at him and he's like, why did he never get to that level? And instead, like, he's now the hitman of a guy who did reach that level. And it's just wild to me, honestly. You'd really think, looking at Cage, that he'd be like, at the very least, like a 3-time world champion. And again, has only ever really tasted an Impact. It's crazy, honestly. But yeah, all leading up to that Iron Man match that we all know is going to happen.
And yes, Javaris is correct. AR Fox and Top Flight are challenging the Elite for the Trios titles on Dynamite coming up.
That's pretty dope.
And we are getting Takeshita versus Cage on that Dynamite as well. It's going to be a fun one.
I will say, I still hated, from the discussion we had about Dynamite, I want to say either last week or 2 weeks back, about MJF's like racist promo and shit, like the low-hanging fruit promo on Takeshita. I do like, though, that Takeshita's staying involved in this story.
Yeah.
Because it even makes me wonder, like, could he potentially be the next guy to challenge MJF after Bryan, even if it's not at a pay-per-view? Because, again, their pay-per-views are pretty spaced out. Could it be on a special edition of Dynamite or something? I think that'd be cool. You all know that I really like Takeshita. I rocks with Takeshita. So I'm happy for the dude that he's still in this story. Beyond that, though, bro, any Swerve this week? Because I know that was one of our more passionate discussions last week. Was Swerve on the show this week?
I don't think Swerve was on Dynamite, but he was on Rampage last night, I think.
Okay. Okay.
He
I don't.
interacted with
Yeah.
someone, and I literally forget who it was. I genuinely don't remember who he interacted with. Fuck.
Okay.
I don't remember. WrestleZone usually has results up pretty quickly. Ram. No? Okay. What the fuck? Who was it? Are you fucking kidding me? God damn it. There we go. Fucking Dustin Rhodes. That's who. That's why I fucking forgot. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You were protecting yourself. I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah. So yeah, Swerve talked shit about the whole Rhodes family. He said about, Dustin takes up too much TV time. His brother ain't shit, and he won't even talk about his dad.
You know what? He's in the right. Like, even before you gave me context, I'm like, I'm sure he was in the right on this. And yeah. Vindication, baby. Vindication. They had it coming, and I really don't know what else to say other than put the fucking TNT title on Swerve. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God! Super Blue in chat brought it back. He actually brought back our old nickname for Dustin, Old Dust.
That was a classic.
Oh, that's amazing.
Who recently said, did we talk about this in Discord, bro? No, I'm sorry, because now my memory's blanking, and I know your memory's going to blank with mine, and I don't know if it's very rare that we both short circuit at the same time, so I'm kind of scared. But who was the wrestler that praised Swerve recently as one of their favorite guys, or a guy that they
Moxley?
really like? Was it Moxley? Yeah, I guess it was.
Well, because
Moxley.
we did just get the whole thing with Renee talking about how Moxley loved Killshot.
Yeah. And then Swerve was like, he didn't even know that it was me, and it's like, it was me.
It was just Moxley fucking around with him, though. He knew.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm intelligent. But no, I love that. I would hope that would mean that Swerve will get fucking something if you're freaking ace of the company.
Oh yeah,
like,
we're gonna get Swerve versus Dustin on AEW Dark on Tuesday.
Oh my God, that sounds so boring. Fuck you, AEW.
By the way, to be clear, I don't actually know when the match is happening. I'm assuming the match will happen. I don't know when. That was just me being petty.
Oh, but see, here's the thing, friend. You're probably right. And then, what does that say? That Ashton doesn't even have to try. He could use 20% of his power on AEW and be like, let me guess, you're going to do this, this, and this. And then Tony, while being insecure about the fact that he wears glasses, which, what a weird thing to be hung up about. You're literally a billionaire. Get over yourself. Oh, wait, that's kind of the point. He's going to be like, no, quick, rewrite the script. We can't have him be right again. Fuck it. We see you, motherfucker. Swerve's never going to get what he deserves, and it angers me, and it pisses me off, and I kind of hate everything, to be honest with you. Whenever we talk about Dynamite, I could just feel the pep getting lost in my step. It goes from pep to, like, ep, and then there's just it's just the further the conversation, continues and progresses, it just gets worse. But yeah, Swerve's great, one of the best talents in all of professional wrestling. Give him the TNT title. He's better than Smarmy Allen and his fucking punk ass.
God.
So, yeah. Fuck Darby Allin.
I fucking hate Darby Allin so much.
We should have a segment on this show every week where we just stay on that motherfucker's head.
Bro, how did they really go out of their way to pick the worst possible people to be their fucking pillars? You mean to tell me that your quote-unquote pillars, and again, reminder that the original pillars that this is a reference to were Kenta Kobashi, Kawada, Misawa, and Taue in All Japan. So fuck you already, just for even trying to compare these dudes to them. Your pillars were MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Really? Did you literally just pick the first 4 young guys that signed a contract?
Yeah. Dude, that's literally how it comes off. It's so funny that that's how you punctuated it, because, yeah, probably. It's like, hey, first come, first serve. I always wanted to be the face of a company. Well, sign here and we'll make all of your dreams come true. How many matches have you wrestled, kid? None. How many promos have you cut? None. Perfect. Sign here. Initial here. And
I mean,
sign
in
your
Darby
solo
Allin's case, you could probably argue that to this day he hasn't wrestled an actual wrestling match because he's just a fucking stunt man, for fuck's sakes.
here.
This kid isn't a
And-
wrestler. This kid doesn't know a fucking wrist lock from wrist watch.
And you know what? Potential hot take here. He's more of a stuntman than fucking Foley ever was. Because if you
Or
look
Jeff
at Foley's
Hardy.
early work or Jeff Hardy, because if you look at Foley's early work as a heel, I've seen some of those matches, and he actually had a wrestling background from high school.
Yeah.
He did like some legit wrestling stuff mixed in with the spots.
Yep.
Darby, it's just, okay, how can I escalate, speed running, just injuring myself and being in a wheelchair by the time I'm 40?
I mean, that's
Like,
fucking
dude,
Guevara, too. Guevara does that shit, too. He's the same way.
Yeah. God.
I think the difference is at least Guevara can do some actual impressive athletic shit that Darby can't do.
Yeah. God. What a company. Like, wow. You have fucking Swerve on your roster. You have him take out Keith Lee, who again is another big prospect that you could get a nice main event run out of if you really wanted to. And you're just like, no, I'm good. We got Sammy Guevara. How many backstage fights have you gotten in, Sammy? Only 2. See, that's down from 1 from last week. See, we're making progress. I hate them. I hate them. But anyway, was Ember forearming or Yuka walking up on Ember and getting in a fight with her, or Athena, excuse me, Athena. Was that this week, or was that just like an older clip that somebody wanted to share on the Discord? Because I did see that in the Discord.
I think that was last week's Rampage, actually.
Damn. See what happens when I try and participate? It just goes awful. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
But I will say, and unfortunately, I don't know how I managed to miss this. It must have just been because I was preoccupied with us doing our Rumble setup, trying to set up for preview predictions. We did get Jamie Hayter versus Emi Sakura for the women's title last night. I actually want to go back and watch that match because that sounds like it was really fucking good.
I love that they're actually putting Jamie with people that it's like, yeah, they're cool, and I can do good shit with them. I just want Jamie to keep doing big stuff as the champion. Like, I don't want the match with Sheeta to be the only time she main events at Dynamite. That should be happening. Being realistic about the company, that should be happening at least once every 2 months for however long her title reign goes. Because like, yeah, she's awesome. Nobody's greater than Hayter, baby.
Oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't actually for the title. It was one of those eliminator matches where if the challenger, if the non-champion beats the champion, they'd get a title shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, wait, no. Are we talking about the same thing though? Because I'm talking about the segment where Athena was like going backstage and she was supposed to be interviewed, and then like she starts attacking people, and then Yuka just randomly shows up and she's just like, "Hi," and then throws a fucking forearm.
Which classic Yuka. Right?
I love her, dude. She's so good.
God, yeah, she is. She
awesome.
really is.
She's great.
What else on AEW, brother? What else? Is there anything else worth talking about?
Let's see here. Let me just pull up a quick recap of Dynamite so that I get an idea of what's worth talking about. Okay, fuck all of that. I don't really give a shit about that. That was okay, but not really worth talking about. Fuck Jungle Boy. That was garbage. That was mid.
Oh my god.
We already talked about that. We did get Toni Storm versus Ruby Soho, which we got Britt Baker's music hitting during that match, which allowed Ruby to win, distracted Toni. Toni's wearing long pants now, which according to a lot of horny men is the ultimate heel move she could pull. And then, yeah, the main event of the show was the Jay Briscoe tribute match between Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal. So, I dipped out of that before that happened. But then I know that on Rampage last night, Ruby confronted Britt and was just like, I don't need your help to win. What the fuck was that kind of thing? So I guess we're doing a story where, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Ruby and Britt are going to have to learn to coexist because Tony is like the ultimate heel now, or Tony and Saraya are the ultimate heels now, or something. I'm not 100% sure where it's going, but it definitely seems to be leaning towards the whole like AEW originals versus the WWE people kind of gimmick kind of thing.
Yeah. Can they coexist?
Precisely.
Against the most evil ass in all of professional wrestling, Toni Storm. Because, to her credit, I know you've been saying that she works so much better as a heel.
Oh my God,
which
yeah.
is cool. I might even have to, check that out. Just because, her as a face, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it doesn't really make an impression on me the way that, like, Utami does as a babyface, for instance. God, I love Utami so much. But, yeah. Yeah, so that happened. And then, we don't have to talk about the Jay Briscoe stuff. We already kind of talked about all that last week, so I don't need to really retread that. So beyond that, I guess, really nothing, right? I guess we can move on to our next segment, which would be, well, we always talk about extracurricular stuff. I've already kind of said the extracurricular stuff I watched. I watched Roman Reigns' interview on Jimmy Fallon. I watched Sami Zayn's interview. I feel like that's really all that
we both watched,
watched.
that one match that was the Impact match that Angel wanted us to watch.
Yes. Yeah, Carly Bravo and Zicky Dice.
That's right, yeah. God, I was literally blanking on both names. Jesus fuck.
Oh my God, I contributed I did it, everyone. Yeah. But yeah, wasn't a bad match. I like the notes Angel was very appreciative of the feedback you gave, by the way. You really was like, that's good
cool.
shit.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, in fact,
yeah, I think to the point where he's going to make sure that it gets back to Carly. That's how worthwhile he thought it to be. So, yeah. Good stuff there. Yeah, man, again, I want to like Impact. On some level, I'd like to like Impact. Because when you have fucking Tom Phillips, who's a great play-by-play guy, I might add. I listened to commentary on that. Tom's still great. Tom hasn't missed a beat. And the woman that was commentating with him, she wasn't bad, but she didn't make like a big impression on me. But I will say, I just like to hear a woman on the booth. Get fucking Veda Scott in there. Veda Scott's been doing commentary all over the indies, and she loves it. Get her on an Impact broadcast table. I think that'd be good for her. Plus, we know Mike Bailey's working Impact, so that's a plus too. So yeah, that was a pretty good match. But yeah, that's essentially it. Can't really think of anything else. What about you? Did you do any extracurricular this week beyond that match?
No.
Okay, you really thought you gave it a good think. I like that. All right.
Well, I was going through all the promotions that I might have watched, that I could have watched, that I had an opportunity to watch, and remembering that anything that I might have watched just didn't happen. I just didn't.
Fair enough. All right. Now it's time to open the forum for a Q&A. So anybody that has any questions, feel free about this week in the world of wrestling. So, because general Q&A won't be until March. So, gonna answer some questions, then do high spots, low shots, which we know Abel loves, but Abel hasn't been in for the last couple of these.
He wants to.
Love you, Abel.
Caster Sales wants to know what our expectation on Dom's performance in the Rumble will be. If you go last night, we did preview predictions for the Royal Rumble, and I actually had Dom as my fastest eliminated. So that gives you an idea of how I literally my official prediction was that Dom would be the first entrant, and that Braun Strowman would be the second entrant, and eliminate Dom before number 3 came out.
And okay, so my turned up prediction, given that Dom's a guilty pleasure, he's just gonna look at somebody and they're gonna throw themselves over the top rope because they don't want to mess with somebody that's been to prison. But then my serious prediction is I could see him lasting 20 minutes and then getting eliminated. He is with a faction. He is a Nepo baby. I think you put all that together, he's gonna last a little bit, but he's not gonna make Final Four. He's not gonna get any big elimination, nothing like that. He's just gonna survive a little bit, and then that's it.
Nice.
So Super Blue asked, how would an eventual AEW Originals versus AEW Outsiders Blood and Guts go? Probably overbooked to shit like every other big thing that AEW does, but I see the Originals going over so that they can have a masturbatory thing about, yeah, we're the best company. It's literally just WWE burying WCW all over again. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. Do you have anything you want to add?
Do I have anything I want to add? I don't think. What was the question? Which I'm sorry.
Well, okay, we should have just started with that. Super Blue asked, how would an eventual AEW Originals versus AEW Outsiders?
Well, that
Blood
would
and
be the
Guts
women's
go?
thing, right? It would be like,
Yeah.
Tony, Saraya. God, I mean, who else would even fill that team out, right? Who are the other heels that would be, the rest of that team is my question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like the faces, you would have Willow, you would have Britt, Jamie, Ruby. I think would actually be on the babyface team. Oddly enough, although I don't know, because she is like a WWE, quote unquote AEW Outsiders. I don't know. I don't know how they would do it, but it seems like they're trying to kind of build towards that. So I guess we'll see. Oh, wait,
All right.
Willow's injured? What do you mean Willow's injured? Don't you mean Anna Jay is injured because of Willow? I didn't think Willow was injured. What?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Foster asked John, how would you react if Ashton won the Rumble? Pretty fucking surprised because I've been trying to call him for 3 hours to live react to Rumble, and then I look on my Peacock and I see that he won the fucking thing. That'd be really awkward. Be like, I thought we were doing it, and then he'd be like, yeah, man, but there was a spot open, and I'm like, that's one hell of a payday, so I'm just gonna win this thing. I've got the power, I've got the size, and I'm like, cool. So it's just gonna be you and Roman at Mania. Yeah, I guess we would just go from there. It'd be pretty awkward, Foster. I'm not gonna lie to you. It would take me a while to just get to the happy reaction, just because I'd be so goddamn confounded and confused.
Yeah.
About so much. So yeah. Caster Sales. Well, Javaris asked, why is DK and AEW hate me but not have Keith Lee on TV? I feel like we've talked about why AEW just doesn't know what they have Keith Lee enough. You know this, Javaris. You need to stop hurting yourself, bud. It's sad to watch. It's sad for me to watch. Caster Sales, do you fear that Dwayne will be on the Rumble? Not anymore, actually, ever since preview predictions last night. Foster said he wants to hear you review your own storyline and ring work. To be honest, now that he says it that way, I kind of want to hear it too. It'd be amazing. But no, I'm not worried about Dwayne Caster. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Super Blue, how do you feel about Cross kicking out of Ray's 619 combo and losing to a roll-up of Doom? I mean, anytime Cross fails at anything, I'm going to laugh. So, yeah, Super Blue. I feel fucking great, honestly, about that. How do you feel about watching Cross fail at something again?
That sounds amazing, honestly. Like cathartic doesn't even begin to describe it, honestly. It just sounds awesome. I love Alex Foster's comment. When Cross fails, an angel gets its wings.
That's true. That's true. 100%. 100%. Yeah, honestly, though, I do have to interject just because, oddly enough, you've been a topic of conversation. Not as amazing as your face. Just so that we keep the natural order, kind of stable there. But yeah, fuck Cross. In fact, Cross's stock has dropped because neither one of us, I don't think any of us, you, me, or your mom, had Cross in our Final Four for Rumble tonight. And I feel like if they were booking him like they did in NXT, he 100% would have been in my Final Four at least. I'm not going to speak for you or your mom, but he has been such a fucking dud. I ain't even sweating the dude. It is amazing. So yeah, any other questions here on the road to Rumble? Super Blue, if Dwayne has a match at WrestleMania 39, who would you want him to fight, or should he know his role and stay in Hollywood? I personally don't give a shit what he does. I would have him stay in Hollywood. Of course, WrestleMania is going to be in Hollywood, so, here's the thing. Roman wouldn't be a bad match. It's just a bad time. Roman's on top of his freaking game. He's got both world titles. When Roman drops him, and you give it some time and you're really able to make it an attraction, you could do it at Mania, you could do it at SummerSlam. I don't give a shit. Just don't get the titles involved. I will always be against getting the titles involved. What about you, Asher? Could you think of any other better opponents for Dwayne, or should he just stay in Hollywood?
Better opponents for Dwayne than Roman?
Yeah. Potentially. Or if you just agree with Roman, or if you just think that he should stay in Hollywood. Whatever's going on there.
I mean, if CM Punk ever comes back to WWE, he'd be a perfect next opponent for Dwayne.
Oh, God, yeah.
He can finally have his WrestleMania main event, right?
Oh, God.
He could even.
Like you took a little bit.
It would even be a little bit like karma, because wasn't Cena Rock the main event of one or even two of the WrestleManias that CM Punk wanted to main event?
Yep.
That's perfect.
The satisfaction you took in all of that.
I really did.
Yeah, no, it was like your mother. It was apparent. Anyway, Foster, any last minute surprise entrance? Ashton, apparently, Foster, if you have it your way, fly him out on a private jet and shit. No, I don't know. I did start to hear rumors recently of RVD. I wouldn't be surprised if RVD was in it now. That'd be interesting. Any guesses, Ashton? Any names you want to put out there? Oh my God, Abel's here. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like we agreed, when important stuff happens, it's appropriate. Abel is here. He's in time for iSpots.
He said, like the video if you love Week in Review.
Oh my God! But yes, if you could think of
Abel, Q&A is open for wrestling-related questions, obviously. So if you wanted to ask us anything about this week in the world of wrestling, then feel free, my friend. So as far as surprise entrance, I don't buy into the Jay White rumors at all, because he literally still hasn't even had the Loser Leaves Japan match with Hikuleo. He still is scheduled to have a match with Eddie Kingston at Battle in the Valley, the same show that we're getting Mercedes versus Kairi. So yeah, no, I definitely don't think he's going to be in it. I think the more interesting side here is the women's rumble to me, because there have only been I think 11 women announced or something like that. It might not even be. It might be 12, but there's less than half of the field has been announced for the women's rumble, and there are a few women that will probably be in it that are on the roster that just haven't been announced. Like Shotzi, I think hasn't been announced. Natalya is probably going to make her return at the rumble. There are a few of those types that, they weren't officially announced for the Rumble. They'll probably be in it anyway. Mark said 17 women? What?
I guess that 17 women have been announced.
Is this a reason? No, 12. 12 women have been announced. Don't do that to me, Mark. Jesus Christ.
Are we sure? Unless there's been an update while we've been live. Unless you've been keeping your finger on the pulse.
No, dude, I'm literally on the Wikipedia page, and they even have that Elias was officially announced to be in the Rumble today on Twitter. So if something happened, it would be on this page, and it's not.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Damn. All right.
Mark said the match graphic I saw within the past hour had 17. Mark, do me a favor. Post the tweet that had that match graphic in it on the wrestling discussion channel in the Discord, please.
Please and thank you, Mark.
Or honestly, if you want, you could even post it right here in the chat. That'd be fine too. Because I really want to see it. Because now I feel like the Wikipedia article's lying to me now. Because this says that only 12 have been announced. It's Liv Morgan, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, Emma, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Lacey Evans, and Xia Li. That's the only people that are officially announced as far as Wikipedia goes.
Abel asked, will Muhammad Hassan return and win the Rumble like he should have in 2005?
I would love if we got a Muhammad Hassan. I feel like he would get a... Well, no, not... No, I was gonna say I feel like he would get a babyface reaction, but no, he still wouldn't. We still haven't come far enough as a country yet that would happen.
Abel, son, first of all, I love you so much. That just goes without saying. But second of all, not even to be disrespectful, if that happened, I would laugh my ass off. Just because it's so random. I've even been talking with Ashton, Big E would probably be one of the only people I'd be cool with, taking the Rumble win from Sami. Stone Cold would be intriguing. I could probably look the other way on that. Cody, you guys already know, fuck Cody. Hassan, though? I would laugh so hard, and I'd be like, you know what? Give it to me. Give it to me. Sell me on it. Sell me on Roman Reigns versus Muhammad Hassan for the undisputed Universal Championship. Sell me on it. No, you know what? I love it.
Isn't Kopani like a firefighter now or something like that?
He's like a principal. He's a principal, last I heard, at a middle school. What are you gonna do? He's gonna get a phone call and be like, "Well, students, I've got unfinished business," and then he gets in his ring gear. I mean, look, I like the dude during his time. He got hella screwed for doing his job too well. He should have been a world champion, no doubt. But yeah, Abel, you're my delightful little goofball. I love you forever. But yeah, that we'll see, I guess. Yeah, Foster's the same as me. Abel, I would pass out yeah, same. Foster and I would be together laughing our asses off, and it just would not go well for them.
Bro,
But
I
yeah,
swear to God tonight, if we get a countdown and a buzzer, and then we get the
oh God.
Oh my God.
The crowd would be apathetic because they'd be like, we're targeting Asians now. Our racism has changed. Like, it's like, oh, God damn it. Fuck. Oh, I hate redneck wrestling crowd, which pretty much be like most wrestling crowds. Fuck. But yeah, they'd probably be apathetic. You wouldn't get the same nuclear heat because now it's COVID. No, Asian people and COVID because, we live in an
Nakamura's
anti-intellectual
probably going to
society.
be on tonight. Yeah, Nakamura probably going to have his return be tonight.
Oh, well, yeah. Now, see, it's funny that I just got done saying what I said because I actually feel like Nakamura would get a decent pop if he returns tonight.
I also really want Rick Boogs, man. Literally, his injury happened almost 10 months ago at this point, and it's supposed to have a 9-month recovery window, and he was walking within 3. Like, this dude rehabbed his ass off. He probably could have returned by the end of 2022. But I'm convinced, I have it in my mind, that they were saving him for the Rumble.
Yeah. Dude, Boogs is a freak, man. I'm just going to put that out there. That dude, if they really put it all together with him, it's over for everyone else. That dude, he's awesome. So awesome. And especially if he has a run while McAfee's back on commentary, because isn't McAfee supposed to be coming back when football season's over?
Yep. McAfee, well, here's the thing. College football season has been over for a few weeks now, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if McAfee even made his big return tonight in the Rumble and then went over and sat at the booth to finish the show.
Yeah. Dude, God. With McAfee hyping Boogs up, there's nothing that man couldn't accomplish. But yeah.
So Abel posted the image that I believe Mark was referring to in the Discord. And Becky Lynch is on it, which is an addition. Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, Mia Yim, Sonya Deville, and Tegan Knox are the additions.
Interesting. Let me just scroll back up here, though, because obviously we had a bit of fun with the Hassan question. But Super Blue asking a legit question. Do you think Edge returns tonight? I've honestly really been debating on this. I'm going to say yes. I was going to say no, but actually I think I'm going to say yes. Because Rumble has become very special to Edge the last couple of years. Winning it last year and then, returning 2 years ago at Rumble. So Rumble's kind of become a sacred place for Edge. I think he'll do something at Rumble tonight. What do you think?
I think that is entirely possible. I honestly, when I saw, do you think Edge is going to return tonight? I'm just thinking, return from what? Isn't he already still in the product? When did he leave? What?
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while, to be fair. Super Blue.
Really?
That is a legit question. Yeah. I feel like it's been a bit since
I feel like Edge has 6 returns a year.
Yeah, he does. So.
Oh yeah, I guess he hasn't wrestled since October. Wow. It's gonna be 3.5 months that he's been out. That's actually kind of wild. I didn't realize he was gone for that long. I genuinely didn't realize that. And wow. Okay. So God, how many returns is this man gonna have? I swear to God. Because, like, here's the thing. I think he had at least two different returns last year, right? Because
Right.
he had the WrestleMania match with AJ, but like he returned relatively soon prior to that, right? Because he was gone for a couple months prior to that, and then he had a big return that set up for the match with AJ, right?
Yeah.
And then he, after the Hell in a Cell match with him, Priest and Rhea, then I think the night after that was when Balor debuted and attacked him, and then he had a big return a couple months after that. So he's going to basically have three, if he does return at Rumble, which I think probably is completely valid, probably will happen. He will have had three big returns within like 10 months, basically.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's absurd.
Abel, you only get one joke question per Q&A. We're not, because he's like, will Chelsea Green show up tonight and revive the Robert Stone
No,
brand?
but you know what? I do hope that Chelsea does show up tonight. I mean, obviously the Robert Stone brand is dead, and that kills me inside to have to say, because I fucking loved that whole gimmick, I guess you could say. But I do. It would be cool if we saw Chelsea in the Women's Rumble tonight. That would be really cool. I also would love to see Roxanne Perez in the Women's Rumble tonight, and just kind of to stick on that theme, I think Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes and maybe even Wes Lee would be really cool additions to the Men's Rumble too.
DBK did ask much earlier. I'm just trying to keep track of all these questions. Do you think it's time to change the WWE writing team after Mania? I mean, personally, I would have whoever's been heading that Bloodline storyline to just work full time, maybe with just a few additional people, because that's been fantastic. So yeah, I doubt they'll do anything, DBK. I don't even know if they should do anything, but we'll see what happens after Mania. Let's see here. Okay. Abel, will Zack Ryder be in the Rumble, or is that another joke question? No, Zack Ryder's not going to be in the Rumble because he's working Impact, bro. He's actually back in a tag team with Kurt Hawkins. So
the Major Bros have reunited.
Yeah, exactly.
The Edgeheads.
So, yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be in the Rumble, Abel. I don't think that kind of surprise is going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was, actually, dude. I'm going to be straight up with you. I mean, they won't call him Matt Cardona. That he'll just be Zack Ryder again. But I would not be surprised at all if he was in the Rumble tonight. Like, seriously, because there have been all kinds of rumors about WWE offering like one-time deals to non-contracted people to be in a surprise in the Rumble, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he was one of them.
Super Blue, of the Royal Rumble bombs, will you want to skip out on the post-Rumble Raw? It was your Patreon request, so we will react to Raw whether Rumble bombs or not, because, it's your patronage, and we're very grateful for all the patronage we get on the channel. I mean, if you want to save your money, that'll be more at your discretion, Super Blue, so if anything, the question should be turned back on you. If Royal Rumble bombs, would you want us to skip the post-Rumble Raw? Because it's your money, so it's your skin in the game, my brother. You got to decide that for yourself.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Great job.
Yeah, perfect face. All right. So let's see.
You can say
here.
perfect job to my mom then, because she made the damn thing.
Well, thank you. God. Any other questions? Everything might have finally slowed down. We might be good here, because yeah, you guys really came in hot today. I don't blame you guys though. And Super Blue said I want you guys to watch it. Well, then we're gonna watch it because it's your money and you're financially supporting us, and nothing means more to us than that. So you got it, Super Blue. Even if I'm ripping what little hair I have left out over Rumble, I will still show back up on Monday to do this request for you, without a doubt. So, all right. I'm gonna guess there are no other questions. So, with that said, time to get to Abel's favorite segment, high spots and low shots. And just thinking about the entire week in wrestling.
I have my low shot already.
Who's your low shot?
Bryan Danielson.
Oh, yeah, because of the arm thing.
And because he has to face Timothy Thatcher next week.
Yeah, that ain't a fun time.
Going into the match with an already bum arm.
Yes. My low shot, honestly, my low shot might be Sami Zayn, because after SmackDown and how that went, no, you know what? Sami isn't my low shot, Jey Uso is. because Jay took leadership for a second, called Sami in. That backfired, and now Roman's going to be like, you see what happens when anybody's in charge but me? So it's going to reinforce Roman's ego. It's going to reinforce everybody's perception about Roman's ego that Roman cultivated within the group, and it's just going to have bad consequences for Jay. So I'm actually going to say Jay Uso is my low shot.
Ooh, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. My high spot, yeah. God, who do I make my high spot here? Sheesh. You said Jay Uso was your low shot, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm very tempted to make Sami Zayn my high spot because he clearly has Jay as an ally. He's clearly helping Jay find his confidence again. And he helped Jay retain the tag titles, which is probably going to put him in better standing with Roman because of Jimmy being injured on Monday. And Sami didn't want to be in the arena last night. Jay is the one that called him in. So even if Sami gets in trouble with Roman, Jay is the reason that he was there, that he was in the building at all. So I don't know, man. I think Sami is going to get away with this one. I'm going to make Sami my high spot.
All right. My high spot, you know what? Just because I watched the segment 20 times last night, and I'm not even kidding. Kevin Owens.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Owens. I loved how he dealt with Solo. I loved how fired up he was looking into the camera. That was some Kevin Steen shit. And I know everybody, when somebody comes to the company with bigger gimmicks, like, oh, you know, that was con energy. No, this dude, I wish this was the Kevin Owens of 2 years ago, because he might have said, hey, fuck the paid off ref. I'm winning that freaking title. It's going to hurt so bad because I love Sami and he deserves it. He deserves it so much. But I'm like, KO, though. You got to keep doing my man like this. Ah, God, he's so good. I can't wait for that world title match. Honestly, I think I'm looking forward to Men's Rumble the most because of the possibilities. But then that world title match is second, and then the Women's Rumble would be third as far as like anticipated matches. I'm honestly terrified of Wyatt Knight. That doesn't even make the list. But that world title match, oh, God, those two. Finally completing that Rumble trilogy. So we'll have to see how it goes. So Kevin Owens is my high spot. Anything else you want to say, friend?
Nope.
All right. Well, then, that's it, folks. You know what's next. Royal Rumble live reactions, 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Be sure to be there. We're going through the whole Rumble card. And with that said, this has been TWitWoW in Review, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my core and commentary action. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. Subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. See you at 8 for Rumble. The road to WrestleMania officially begins. And then, as we've kind of been saying, Monday night, 8 p.m., we're live reacting to it courtesy of Super Blue. He gave us an L, but more than that, he gave us his financial support. So we'll go through any minefield for people that financially support us because it means the world to us. You guys don't have to do it, especially in this economy. The idea that you choose TWitWoW in this economy, that means a lot. So we're going to be live reacting to Raw, all sweet 3 hours of it. And we'll be reacting to it, probably dunking on it, and maybe even loving parts of it, depending on how it goes. Oh man, depending on how it goes. So yeah, that'll be Monday. And then I ain't even thinking about the rest of the week. Honestly, I'm just so dialed in on Rumble and the aftershocks of Rumble. So we will see you guys then. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, because we may need to tonight, depending on how everything goes. And until we meet again very soon, tune in and peace out.